My name is Lenora Cooper, and today I'll be showing you how to make fused plastic flowers. So to do this, you're going to need plastic bags. Now they could either be thick like this one, or thinner like this one, or just a regular Walmart one. And then you also need a paper bag cut in half, just any old paper bag, and scissors, and then either your sewing machine or needle and thread. To start off, you need to fuse your plastic, and to do that you need to prepare your bags. So you start by cutting down both the side seams. And the bottom, cut the bottom off. Now this bag's a thicker plastic bag, and if you're using these, you want to only use thick bags. And if you're using thinner bags like Walmart bags, you want to only use thin bags. And with Walmart bags, they have handles on top. You just chop off the handles. And if they have printing on them, you want the printing to be on the inside, touching another piece of plastic, not on the outside next to the paper where we're going to put the paper bags, because it'll bleed everywhere and make a mess. So you need 8 to 10 layers like this, and you can cut these in half again. Some people like to fold them. I don't, because it adds more air bubbles. But you just cut it again and fold it over, but I'm not going to be using these ones today because I have something else set up. But if you're wanting to use a bag like this Hot Topic bag, you could just keep it the way it is and put it inside of a Walmart bag and do it, and then the ink will stay okay, but you want to iron this one quicker than we're ironing the ones we're doing today. So what I have here is a bunch of small pieces of bag that I've cut up already, and I have the zebra print bag, and I want this to be like more like the design that you see in the bags. So on these ones I didn't use any other bag with printing, just plain bags. And so I stacked, there's 10 layers in this one, and then I'm going to stack 8 layers, then this is the 9th layer, and then just one on top so the color is really intense, but it doesn't bleed everywhere. And if you're getting down to your bags, you're cutting them up and things, and you don't have enough for a full piece, you can just stagger the different pieces together to make a piece, and they'll all bind and you won't even see a difference. So you're going to put one paper bag on the bottom, and then your 8 to 10 layers of plastic in the middle, and then put your other bag on top. And then with your iron at a medium-high setting, you're going to just start pressing it, just slowly going across the whole time so it doesn't get super melted in one part and on the others. And the bags do shrink when you do this. So like if you're planning on having an exact size, you won't. It's easier to just fuse it all at first and then figure out the exact size later. So after you've pressed probably for 15 to 20 seconds on one side. If you start in the middle or start on one side and go all the way to one side instead of going here, because it keeps the bubbles out. Well, once you do that, you flip it over and you do it for the same amount on the other side. And right now it's really soft because it's still pretty hot. But as it cools down, it gets harder. Like this one I have here, this one doesn't flop as much, and like when you crinkle them, you can hear a difference. But this is one I just did earlier with the same fabrics. But you want to try and keep them like laying flat while they're cooling, otherwise they're going to look weird. And with these ones, you want to make sure there's no bubbles since you're cutting them out. Otherwise, when you make your petals for your flower, they'll start peeling apart. But that's the first part. So next you want to, I just take a piece of scrap paper and cut out different petal shapes. Like this one's like for a long, like thinner type petal. I don't know, I'm sure if you go out in nature you'll find some flowers. Like this one's more triangular. And this one's a little pointed but not much. And then this one's larger, like if you make them different sizes they'll also come out different. And then this one's just shorter and round. Yep. And so for this, today I'm going to be using this one. And I usually need like 8 or so petals for each flower. But instead of cutting this into pieces to begin with, I just fold it, make sure it's the right size. Yeah, and so then just fold it in a few parts. And then I just take the petal and put it on there, and grab a sewing pin and pin the pedal on so it doesn't move while I'm cutting. And this plastic is pretty easy to cut through. Like your scissors just glide through it. And so then now that it's on there, just like with a sewing pattern, you're just going to cut around it. Try not to make a mess on the floor. So then you just take your pin out, and you already have, like this pedal I probably won't use because it doesn't have all the color on it, but these ones I will, and so I'm just going to make probably 4 or 5 more, just like that. And then I'll show you the next step. So now that we have all of our pedals cut out, we're going to sew them together. So I like to do this with a machine, but you can do it by hand if you don't have a machine. And you just put them pretty close. I like to have the left over the right side and make sure the bottoms are pretty matched up. And then right where these two meet, right where that V comes in, you're going to start sewing there, and you're going to follow the curve of the one that's on top all the way to the bottom, and make sure that you backstitch if you're using a machine. So, and you're going to be going really close to the edge, so you don't really even have a seam allowance. You just have to look really, really closely at the machine. So, start off with a few stitches, and then I like to keep my needle down. Then backstitch, and then keep going forward again. Backstitch at the end. Pull your needle up. Oh no, what is wrong here? Okay, and then just clip your threads. So that's what one set looks like. Now you can take the next pedal and put it here. I sliced that one on accident. Don't do that. And then just do the same thing again. So start going, do 2 or 3 stitches, put your needle down, back stitch. Make sure to try and do the same exact stitches, put them in the same place. When you get to the end, don't forget to back stitch. Pull up your needle and clip. And so you're going to keep going around, and then I'll show you where you stop. So now I've sewn 8 of the pedals together, and you can see there's this big space here. Now even if you could perfectly put another pedal in there, you don't want to. You're going to take the 2 pieces and bring them together like this, and that's what makes your flower 3-dimensional instead of it just being flat. And then you're going to sew those the way you did everything else. But you want to make sure the left side's on top. And when you get into the middle on this one, it's kind of like going to flatten itself out under the presser foot. If you're sewing by hand, you don't even need to worry about that. But yeah. And if you do sew a little bit over onto the next pedal, it's okay, because we're going to hide mistakes like that in the next step. So now you have your flower like this. And so what I do is I take a hand needle and a button, and I put it in the middle. Now you can choose any button. I probably would use a bigger one for this one, but I'm going to use, this is the only one I found right now. And then sometimes I put a safety pin on the back, or a brett, or you could just leave it with nothing and sew it directly onto whatever you're making. Or if you're putting on a headband, you could just use hot glue. But just like you sew a button with a double strand of thread. Here's your fused plastic flower, and that's it. And Oh, when I accidentally sliced it on the side of my thread cutter, I just took an extra piece of plastic and put it back on there and put it back under the iron with the piece of paper. I can't even tell which one it is now. Oh, it's this one. So you have to look real close, like I couldn't even see it, because I just put it on both sides like a Band-Aid and remelted it and cut it around, and it's perfect. So.